Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a thought that was completely your own? Not suggested by an algorithm, not shaped by a headline, not triggered by something your feed already knew would make you feel something. Think about it, because here's the reality. The most powerful prison ever built has no walls, no bars, no guards. It runs on your phone, it lives in your feed, and it's been running your life longer than you know. The Matrix wasn't a movie about the future, it was a blueprint for the present, and today we're reading it. Welcome to Parallels, the show that takes comic books, movies, games, and TV and uses them to decode the real systems of power, control, and culture shaping your world right now. We start where it all begins, the biggest metaphor in cinema history. In the film, The Matrix is a simulation, a fabricated world designed to keep humans productive, passive, and unaware. But the Wachowskis weren't building a fantasy, they were holding up a mirror. The Matrix is a metaphor for consensus reality, the invisible architecture of beliefs, assumptions, and narratives. A society accepts as truth, not because they were examined, but because they were inherited. You didn't choose most of what you believe, you absorbed it. From the school that decided what history was worth knowing, from the news that decided was worth covering, from the culture that decided what was normal, what was dangerous, what was possible, and what wasn't. That's the Matrix. Not a machine, a manufactured reality engineered to produce a specific type of person, a person who consumes, a person who complies, a person who never asks who built this system and who does it actually serve. Now, what makes the Matrix genius as a metaphor is that the system doesn't use force. It doesn't need to. The most efficient prison is one where the inmates believe they're free, where they defend the walls, where they call the cage common sense, where they look at anyone who questions it and says, "You're crazy." That's not science fiction. That's the whistleblower dismissed as a traitor. That's the historian ignored for teaching inconvenient facts. That's every person who asked why and got told just to be grateful. The Matrix runs on one thing, your belief that what you're seeing is real. The moment that breaks, the system loses power. That's why the choice in the film isn't a battle, it's a pill, a single decision to see. Because the deepest control isn't in your chains, it's in your assumptions. And in this episode, we're going to take them apart. In the film, humans are harvested for energy, kept alive, kept unconscious, kept producing. In 2025, that's not a metaphor anymore. It's a business model. You are not a user, you are a resource. Every time you scroll, click, search, pause on a video, laugh at a meme, get angry at a headline, react to a post, you generate data, and that data is worth billions of dollars. Not to you, but to them. Google built a $1.8 trillion company on your searches. Meta built a $1.4 trillion empire on your relationships. TikTok mapped your psychology faster than any therapist ever could and sold that map to the highest bidder. Amazon knows what you want before you know what you want. And they're not doing this with magic, they're doing it with your behavior, your patterns, your fears, your desires. Every click you've ever made has been logged, weighted, and used to predict the next one. You think you're browsing the internet? The internet is browsing you. There's a term for this: surveillance capitalism, coined by Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff. The premise is simple: your behavior is raw material. It gets extracted, processed, and sold without your knowledge, without your consent, and without you seeing a single dollar. In the Matrix, the machines need bodies to harvest. In the real world, they just need your attention, and you give it to them willingly every single day. So, what do they do with all that data? They build a world for you, specifically for you, tailored to your triggers, optimized for your engagement, designed to keep you in. That's the algorithmic reality. Two people can sit in the same room, in the same city, living the same life, and exist in completely different realities. Different news, different enemies, different fears, different versions of history, different understandings of what's happening right now. Not because they're different people, because their feeds were built differently. This isn't a glitch, this is a feature. MIT researchers found that false information spreads 6 times faster on social media than true information because outrage travels faster than nuance, because fear spreads faster than fact, and the algorithm doesn't care about truth, it cares about time on platform. It cares about your next click. Facebook's own internal research, leaked by whistleblower Francis Haugen in 2021, showed the company knew its algorithms were amplifying hate, division, and misinformation. And they kept it running because it worked. Because division is engaging. Because anger keeps you scrolling. The Matrix needed you unconscious to harvest you. The attention economy just needs you emotionally activated. Angry, afraid, outraged, entertained. As long as you're feeling something, you're generating value. And you never have to leave the simulation to stay inside of it. In the film, Morpheus offers Neo a choice. Blue pill, stay asleep. The comfortable lie continues. Red pill, wake up. See the system for what it is. But here's where the metaphor has been hijacked in real life, and it matters. In the last decade, taking the red pill became a brand, a political identity, and an internet movement. And most of the people selling it were offering another blue pill in disguise: a new narrative, a new new tribe, a new set of enemies to hate, a new feed to keep you activated. The real red pill is not an ideology. The real red pill is a methodology. It's the decision to ask who benefits from this narrative, who built this system, what am I not being shown, why does this make me feel what it makes me feel. It doesn't lead you to a political party, it leads you to a practice, the practice of tracing power, following money, questioning framing, sitting with uncomfortable history. The Matrix doesn't fear your anger, it uses your anger. What it fears is your clarity. A person who is angry stays in the system. A person who is clear starts to step outside of it. That's the actual pill Morpheus was offering, not a team to join, a way of seeing. Now, here's the part nobody wants to talk about. Most people don't want the red pill, and that's not an insult, that's just honest. In the film, there's a character named Cypher. He's been unplugged. He's seen behind the curtain, and he makes a deal to go back in. He sits across from Agent Smith, cuts into a fake steak, and says, "Ignorance is bliss." People laugh at Cypher, but Cypher is the most realistic character in the movie because the truth is hard. The truth is destabilizing. The truth means you can no longer be comfortable in systems that you now understand are exploiting you. It means you have to grieve things, beliefs you had since childhood, institutions that you trusted, stories that made you feel safe. The system knows this. It designed the comfort intentionally, not just to entertain you, but to make the truth too expensive. If waking up cost you your community, your identity, your sense of stability, most people will stay asleep, and they'll defend their sleep. They'll call you paranoid, they'll say you're obsessed, they'll accuse you of seeing things that aren't there. Because if you're right, their whole world has to shift, and that's terrifying. The blue pill isn't just comfortable, it's protected. The system wraps it in social pressure, ridicule, and the exhaustion of modern life to make sure you never pick up the red one. The Matrix hit different in the black culture or the black community because there was too much shit lining up that made sense. The Matrix dropped in 1999, and in Black America, it didn't feel like science fiction. It felt like recognition. W.E.B. Du Bois wrote about double consciousness in 1903. The experience of seeing yourself through the eyes of a world that was built to misread you. Walking through a society that tells you one reality while your lived experience shows you another. That's the Matrix. Not as metaphor, as daily life. Black Americans have always had to navigate two realities simultaneously: the official story and the truth beneath it. The history textbook said one thing, the grandparents said another. The news said one thing, the neighborhood showed another. Waking up, seeing the code, breaking the system. These didn't just become hip hop metaphors by accident. They became the language of a community that has always known the simulation was running because they were never fully let inside the simulation. The Wachowskis, two black coded trans women who were themselves navigating systems designed to erase their identity, built a film where the hero's liberation begins with refusing to accept what the world tells him he is. That's not coincidence, that's authorship. And that's why The Matrix belongs to this conversation. This series is not about paranoia. It's not about going off grid. It's not about conspiracy. It's about pattern recognition. The first act of freedom is seeing. You don't have to burn the system down today. You don't have to delete your accounts. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to start asking better questions. Why is this the story I'm being told? Who decided this is what I should see? What would I believe if I had been born somewhere else? What am I afraid to know? The Matrix is not a prison that holds your body. It's a prison that holds your imagination. It limits what you think is possible, what you think you deserve, what you think you can change. And the moment you start questioning these limits, you are already outside of the walls. The system can handle your anger. It can handle your frustration. What it cannot handle is an educated, clear-eyed person who refuses to be distracted. That person is dangerous, not with a weapon, but with a question. The Matrix wasn't fiction. It was a diagnostic test. A film that looked at the world in 1999 and said, this is where we're headed. And we got there. We are living inside an attention economy that harvests your behavior, fragments your reality, monetizes your outrage, and calls it a free service. Because you're here. Which means something in you already knew to look. In the next episode, we'll be covering how X-Men predicted modern identity politics, and no one was ready for that conversation. If you enjoyed the content, if this made you think, like, subscribe, and share, because once you see the code, you can't unsee it, and the next person who needs to see it might be waiting on you. Until next time.